Hello and welcome to my channel. Welcome to my very first ever YouTube video. That's a lie. I've made YouTube videos in the past, but that was a long time ago. Totally different type of video. We're just gonna forget about that. So welcome to my very first ever YouTube video. I am so excited to get this channel going. It's been a long time coming, honestly. I've been wanting to do this for over a year and it's never the right time. I've talked myself out of it. I've actually recorded a lot of videos and we'll get into that in a minute, just kind of like what my channel is gonna be about. And then I get hung up on the editing process and I'm like, you know what? 2025, it's the year that we figure out how to do this YouTube thing. So here I am, and I figured the best way to kick this off is to make a video really just telling you guys who I am, what this channel is gonna be about, convince you to be my friend. Can we talk about how hard it is to make friends as an adult? Like, I feel like especially when you're from a small town, I think about this a lot. When you're from a small town, you haven't had to make a friend since like elementary school. Because if you think about it, in the town that I live in, we had 4 different elementary schools. So you'd go to elementary school, you'd make your friends as little kids, and then we had 1 junior high. So like all of those kids would come together and you would have your friends from elementary school, but then you'd meet new friends through your current friends. And then we had 1 high school, so then you go to high school together, and then you get thrown into college and you have to kind of figure out how to make friends again. And then there's adulthood. And then you throw kids in the mix and just life. And anyways, that's what I'm here today to do, to convince you to be my friend and to tell you a little bit about myself and what this channel is going to be about. So my name is Marissa Herbstler. I have 2 kids and 1 more on the way. I'm currently 33 weeks pregnant. You can't really see my belly right now, but I'm 33 weeks pregnant. We're going to have 3 boys. We have 2 boys. I'm having another boy. I have a 7-year-old and I have an 18-month-old. And then, like I said, I'm 33 weeks pregnant. My husband and I have been married for about 11 years, a little over 11 years. And we just bought our house we just hit our year mark like a couple weeks ago. So we've been living in this house for about a year. So if you're wondering why I'm sitting in a white room, it's because this is our bedroom. We haven't gotten to doing this bedroom just yet. And that's a lot of what I want to share on this channel is us fixing up our house, budget-friendly DIYs. We've done a lot of rooms in the house already, and I've actually recorded a lot of it. I just haven't uploaded it anywhere yet. So I want to share that. I personally love going on YouTube, getting inspiration and getting tips and tricks and ideas, especially for room makeovers and DIY projects. I also want to share a lot about motherhood. This is our first year actually homeschooling, so that's a new adventure, and I'd love to share that. I just really feel like I'm in this phase of my life where I want to share it. I want to document it for myself to look back on one day and just kind of see the progression of life and everything, my kids, my home, all that. But also maybe help somebody else out there, help one of you guys out there who is in a similar situation. Maybe you're fixing up your house, or maybe you want to learn how to decorate your house and renovate your house and do projects in your house on a budget. Maybe you want to start homeschooling and you're looking for ideas there, or maybe you're a mom and you're looking for ideas and tips and tricks and just someone to connect with in that world. Whatever the case may be, that's kind of what I want to be, and I just want to have fun with it. I was telling my husband the other day, like, honestly, I need a hobby. And I feel like will be a really good creative outlet for me. And it's just something I've always wanted to do. So that's really what this channel is going to be about. A lot of DIY, budget-friendly home projects, decorating, room makeovers, that type of stuff. Mom content. Like I said, I'm 33 weeks pregnant, so I really want to share how I'm preparing for baby number 3 because I've done this 2 times before. I have a little bit of experience in this world. Homemaking, I am a stay-at-home mom now. So I just want to share that. But a little bit about myself. So let me take you back. I have my degree in exercise science, so I went to school for exercise science. While I was in college, that's when my husband and I met. We didn't meet through college. We actually are from the same hometown. We went to high school together. He was 2 years older than me, but we connected and met after we graduated from high school while I was in college. So I was going to school for exercise science. My husband and I met. We actually got married after 6 months of dating. And about 2 of those months, he was away at basic training for the Air Force. So he was in the military. So we got married pretty quickly, but things seemed to work out because we're in our 11th year of marriage, and I love him very much. We have soon to be 3 kids together. So got married, was still in school, eventually graduated with my degree in exercise science. We lived in New Jersey for a while. We were stationed there for the military. He deployed a couple times. While we were in New Jersey, that's when I had our first baby boy, who is now 7. And my husband was actually deployed in Kuwait when I gave birth to that child, which is a whole story in and of itself. Shortly after I had our first son, that is really when I started to building my career. So I started out with building an online coaching business where I would write workout plans, nutrition plans. When I was coaching, I started to coach people in the online space, especially because being in a military family, I was away from home, I was away from all the people I knew, and I really wanted to be home with my son as well. So I started growing my online coaching business, and I had the privilege of working and helping a lot of people. It was amazing. I loved what I did. I loved being able to help people. I loved everything about it. And through that, I eventually became partnered with a company called First Form. Some of you guys may have heard of it. It's a big supplement company. I started working with them. I eventually became a sponsored trainer with them. And then eventually I actually got hired on full time to work for the company as one of their first remote employees. And I worked in more of like a sales position, which was really cool. You know, I never thought I would be kind of in the corporate world. However, that space just felt so right for me. Like it was in the fitness space, it was in the nutrition space. I was helping people with their nutrition, their fitness, and all of that. And through that experience, I got to meet some of my very best friends, some of the best people I know. I got to experience a lot of really cool things. And I loved it. I loved what I was doing. I loved that I was able to do it remotely. However, it was a very time-consuming, life-consuming, stressful job. And so that was hard, but I loved it. Like I loved what I was able to do. And I would love that I was able to be a stay-at-home mom with my son in the early years. And then eventually he went to daycare, he went to school. So I was able to commit more to my work. So then fast forward, a couple years later, we ended up moving to New Hampshire. I was still working remotely. I was still doing the same thing. And when we were in New Hampshire, this is when I became pregnant with our second child, who is now, like I said, 18 months old. So throughout that pregnancy, I was working, I was doing the same type of stuff. And this was also when my husband hit his 10-year mark in the military. And for those of you guys who don't know, if you're not familiar with the military, basically you can retire after 20 years. So when you hit that 10-year mark, it's kind of like that tipping point of like, if you enlist and stay in, you're gonna stay in for another 10 and you're gonna finish it out, or you're gonna get out. And so a lot of things kind of played into this, especially with us soon to be welcoming our second child when we were away from family. My husband decided to get out of the military and we decided to move back home. So we sold our house in New Hampshire. We moved back home. We actually had to live with my parents for 6 months while we searched for a home in our hometown, because this was also during like the craziness of the housing market and like there was no houses available. So we ended up staying at my parents' house way longer than we wanted to. I actually had our second child while we were living at my parents' house. I actually had both of our kids while living at my parents' house because I also moved back home when my husband was deployed. So it was a whole journey. I love it. Like I love our story. I love everything we've been through, but it's just like funny to look back on. So when I had our second child, and while I was on maternity leave, I had full intentions of going back to work. But while I was on maternity leave, I don't know, like something about having that second child, something really changed in me. And I think a lot of it was just like, because my job was so life consuming and I was so busy like, working in the job, I never really had a chance to kind of like step out and think about like, okay, like what do I want my life to look like? Like it was one of those moments where you're like, when I'm on my deathbed, what do I want to look back on my life and remember? Or like, what do I want my legacy to be? Or like, what am I going to miss the most when I'm on my deathbed? And this is when I had this just realization that like, I wanted to focus on being a mom. I wanted to focus on my family, you know, work and jobs and things like that. Like they're always going to be there. I can always go back to that, but I can never get this time back with my kids when they're little. And I just had this, I think a lot of moms experience this, but like I had this huge just pull inside of me to be home with my kids. And I have a lot of respect for working moms. Like this is not me saying go quit your job or I think you're a bad mom if you are a working mom. Absolutely not. I completely understand having that like that work drive, like wanting to climb up in your job, having that be a huge driving force for you. Like, I totally get it. I was that person at one point. Like, I get it. And I love that for you. However, for me, I knew I needed to be home with my kids. So through a lot of, talking it over with my husband and just kind of figuring things out, I finally came to the decision that I was not going to go back to work after maternity leave. So that is when I became fully a stay-at-home mom. I got to stay home with my 2 kids. We did eventually move into our home. Like I said, we've been here for a little over a year. So we bought our house, moved into our home, and for the last little over a year, I've been a stay-at-home mom. And like I said, this year we started homeschooling. We're welcoming our 3rd baby. We've been working on the house, doing house projects, and I am in a completely different phase of life that I was 2 years ago. And I never ever thought that this would be my life. However, I am so grateful for it. Like, I know that I am where I'm supposed to be. I know I'm doing what I'm supposed to do, and I love it. I'm grateful for it every single day. Doesn't mean we don't have our hard days. We absolutely do, but I am so incredibly grateful to be in this position of my life, to be with my kids, to be spending pretty much all of my time with my children, to be in our home and making this house our home and really being able to plant our roots, because being a military family for 10 years and just always knowing that like every house we live in was going to be temporary, never really been able to do that. So being able to do that has been so much fun. And so I'm so excited to start sharing this journey and just this process and whatever I can with you guys, with the YouTube world. And I can't wait. I hope you guys choose to stick around. Let me know in the comments if we have anything in common. That would be super fun. Subscribe if you would like to see some mom content, some DIY, some home projects. Like I said, I'm preparing for our 3rd baby, so I'm going to be sharing a lot of that. I also have a lot of stuff already recorded that I just, to be honest with you, have not been able to figure out how to edit. So we're going to do that too. Subscribe if you want to see that. Let me know in the comments if we have anything in common, and I will see you guys later. Bye.